Hello everyone, welcome you all. Here we are going to discuss about iterable interface. Iterable interface is root interface to all the Java collection interfaces like list, map and set interface. Here these Java collection interfaces can be implemented by using the classes which are defined for each and every interface separately. So for example, list interface can be implemented by using array list class and linked list class, vector class and stack class. Likewise, set interface can be implemented by using tree set and hash set classes. Likewise, map can be implemented by using hash map class and enumerated map class. Here, after storing the elements in any one of the Java collection, for example, array list I am taking here, the object variable is AL. Here, if you stored the elements in array list, then you have to access these elements to print or to display and also to search the elements in array list. For that, we need iterator to move from one element to another element for accessing. So for that, we can use iterable interface as an object here that can help to the user to iterate over these elements. That means iteration means here moving one element, one index to another index by accessing those values stored in this array list. Likewise, here an iterator is also one of the interface which is also having an object that is helping to the user to iterate over another object. For example, here iterator is an interface which is uh, referencing another object. Here data type will be given, type variable, then here we will use itr is the variable. Here the collection object will be represented, then it will use iterator method. So using this method we can move the cursor from one element to another element in forward direction. So here the iterator method is given here, so that is moving the cursor from one element to another element. So here the iterator is another interface which we have discussed earlier. So here iterator method is having the accessibility by using this kind of methods next, hasNext for each remaining and remove. Here to use this iterable interface in for loop to retrieve the elements, then class must be implement the iterable interface. Okay, so when we are defining user defined class to use the for loop to move the cursor from one element to another element, then we have to use the iterable interface in the with the user defined class. And when you want to use the iterable interface for each loop, that is enhanced for loop, then which will use that iterable interface internally to move the cursor from one object to another object. And also here iterables does not have current state. That means when you are using the iterator interface, that will use the variable itr as per our previous video. This will return the current value and move the control, I mean cursor control, to next element. But here it will not have the current state. Okay, that is the difference between iterator and iterable interface. And here which is having only the abstract method iterator internally, which is called by the iterable interface, that we will see in example. Steps to implement iterable interface is done by using the for each loop, and also we can implement any class with iterable interface should override that iterator method which is built-in method. It should be override whenever we are using iterable interface. We have to define user defined iterator method inside the Java program. But when you are using the iterator interface, no need to define manually this method inside the Java program. And here the iterable does not maintain current state, as we have seen the general specification of iterable interface. Now we are going to see how to create the objects for iterable interface with three different approaches. One is we are going to use the iterable interface for enhanced for loop, that is called for each loop. Here for loop is started with the keyword, then here I am going to create the object which is having data type string. Then this is the object which is referencing any one of the Java collection, for example array list or hash map or tree set. So like that we can use any one of the Java collections class structure that stores the values in that variables. Those are passing to here, which are referencing by the variable element. Then we are accessing those elements available in obj one by one by moving the cursor from one element to another element by using those iterable interface. And another one is here for each loop. Here you see we are using the array list object, then we are using for each is the keyword, and we are using lambda expression as a parameter. So here this is called a lambda expression. We are getting the element which is assigned from the object al, then just we are printing the elements one by one by moving in forward direction. Likewise we can define user defined iterator method here. So here we are having the itr variable, and which is referencing the method iterator, which is moving from one element to another element from the object array list. Like this we can define object in three different ways. And here iterator method is having a different methods. Iterator interface is having different methods. Here one is the hasNext. It will return the false once it is reaching the end of a collection. For example, if I have elements, four elements, and if it reaches the end of the collection, then it will return false. Otherwise it will return the value true when we are using the iterator method or these methods inside the while loop. And next is the method which is returning next element in collection, that means moving the cursor from one element to another element. And remove is the operation can be performed by removing the last element which the iterator is returned from the Java collection. For each remaining is the method which is performing the action for each remaining element in your collection in sequential order. Again it will do with the sequential order, not randomly. Here I am giving the example for user defined iterator method using iterable interface. For that first step we have to create the user defined class, then collect the create the collection class. So for example here we are creating the user defined class, then which is implementing the iterable interface. That's what given here. The user defined class is students ex, which is implementing the iterable interface, that is given here. Then the Java collection is creating. Here I am using the array list as Java collection, which is stored in the variable al. So al is having the values one by one Shai, Srinivas, Pavan. Three values are added by using add method. For this we are going to import the utility package which is imported here to implement the iterable interface. Okay, now here the collection class should provide implementation to the iterable interface, which is having the method iterator. You see here we are implementing the iterable interface, that is implementing by using user defined class. Now I am writing the user defined iterator method. You look at here, this is user defined iterator method which is implemented by, I mean created by iterator interface, the data type which is having string. So whenever we are calling the method, automatically the built-in method iterator is override by this user defined code, and it will return the values which are stored in the object variable al. So here I am defining the driver class because which is having main method. Then here I am creating the object with respect to students ex, the user defined class. Then automatically which is calling this constructor, inside the constructor I am having the al object. For this I stored three values. So now in this variable we are having the array list. That array list is having three values. One is the Shai, and another one is Srinivas, and the third one is Pavan. Now I am accessing those values by using the variable obj. So here al is the variable of array list. So array list structure is passing to the yes, this is having the data type string. So here I'm using the for loop, right? Then we are printing one by one. When it which is calling the for loop internally in the background, automatically it will override the user defined iterator method by Java virtual machine. That is the purpose of user defined iterator method when you are using iterable interface. If you are using iterator, right, iterator interface, then this code is not needed. Automatically built-in iterator method will be executed, right? And the cursor will move one element to another element until which is reaching the end of the array list. So like this we can use iterable interface in Java programming, right? So finally we got the output here based on printing the elements one by one. So here array list is having those elements which are stored here: Shai, Srinivas, and Pavan. And here the for each loop is using iterable interface internally. Look at that. Initially I am creating the main method, main class. Then main method is receiving the arguments. Then I am creating array list object variable which is defining the class array list which is implementing list interface. Then I am adding the values one by one. So three values added, string values, that's why data type string is given. Then you see I did not implement iterable class here. Okay, I did not implement iterable class, and also I did not create any variable itr with respect to the here list is the object. Okay, list is the object dot iterator method. I did not create this. Okay, but you see when you are calling the for loop in the background, automatically this method will be called by using the iterable iterator method internally. Okay, so here for each loop is receiving the elements from list interface. Elements are stored in the variable element. Then those values are printing one by one by internally using the iterator method to move control from one element to another element in forward direction. So when you are using the for each loop, you can use the iterable interface internally in the background of Java virtual machine. Here you are getting the output what elements you have stored here. Thanks for watching.